Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sarah Austin, technical writer at KeyData Cyber. Welcome to our first ever podcast series, Identity Stack. I'm sitting with our CTO, Brian Reed, to discuss the challenges and solutions higher education organizations face when trying to solve their identity governance and administration. What are the priorities facing higher education CTOs and CISOs? What message do you deliver when discussing the importance of their IGA program?
Yeah, so any C-level executive should probably be primarily concerned with driving business value. So, that's where the discussion has to go. But along the way that IGA programs typically provide business value is through reduction in risk. There's other benefits to IGA programs as well that we can talk about, but usually the one that bubbles to the top is risk. So in terms of risk, most CISOs and CTOs are aware that's the perimeter of their organization comes down to identity. We've been saying identity is the perimeter for a while now, but that's a really important concept to kind of grasp. That's the foundation of what we're trying to do. Especially in the higher ed field, you've got users, you've got students, you've got faculty, you've got IT workers working from home, you've got remote learning for students, you've got distributed campuses for IT staff. So people are working from everywhere, and the one thing that follows them around is their identity. Couple this with the fact that 90% of attacks, according to some statistics, rely on valid credentials. So if you can protect those credentials, you're protecting the people where they are. But that's what we mean when we try to emphasize the fact that identity is the perimeter. So IGA programs reduce the risk to the organization because it's their job to enforce least privilege. Your IGA program will right-size your entitlements to your users. Other things like separation of duties, also a really important concept when it comes to securing identities, and it comes from your IGA program. So generally, IGA programs introduce checks and balances over the user lifecycle within the organization, and in that way, it reduces the attack surface of your organization. These are the kind of business values that risks that we can translate into business value for CTOs and CISOs.
In terms of risk reduction, what are some of the business benefits of IGA?
Yeah, so there's other benefits as well. Risk reduction tends to bubble to the top for a bunch of different reasons, but it's important to capture all of them because, again, we're trying to come to some conclusions about the business benefit of an IGA program. So it's important that we capture all the benefits. Some of the ones that to bring up, including the analysis, are better user experience. Who doesn't want happier employees and faculty and students and all the other personas in higher ed? IGA can help users have a better onboarding experience and generally let them gain access to the things they need, faster and safer. So better user experience should definitely factor into it. Increased visibility over your identity estate. A lot of higher ed institutions have a very fractured approach to identity through no fault of their own, and gaining the visibility over all the different areas where identity test is, can deliver huge value, business value in terms of analysis and audit to CISOs and PTOs. Lower cost of ownership is also kind of another key factor to take into consideration. Really what we're talking about there is IGA has the capability of automating the manual tasks that it takes to bring users into and out of your organization. And anytime we're automating, we're reducing the load on administrators. We're allowing those administrators to work on more important tasks. So automated onboarding and offboarding, even automated account removals, all of the things that staff might currently be doing now can be done by an IGA program. And in that way, you can reduce the load on your staff, which translates to better efficiency and lower cost of ownership. So it's important to capture all the business benefits, including the ones that we just talked about. In fact, we've had a lot of luck with organizations doing business cases on IGA, so we can translate some of these uh, business benefits into actual dollars so that we can put together a proper business case for what to expect in a mature IGA program.
What are some of the challenges that higher education organizations face when trying to establish or mature their IGA programs?
Yeah, this is a great question in terms of how higher ed institutions are unique. We talked to a lot of higher ed institutions, and we've drawn some conclusions about sort of the commonalities between them and the challenges that they faced over the years. So I'll go through, we have about 5 that we highlight. And when we talk about them, and when we give talks on these, you usually get a lot of nodding heads. So I think there's a lot of commonality between the different higher ed institutions. So, the first one that almost to the top is multiple personas. So higher ed institutions are unique in that they have to deal with a lot of complex processors related to multiple personas. And by that, I mean, you've got students, you've got faculty, you've got volunteers, you've got all of these different personas that exist within the organization, and they can change personas too. A student can become a TA, which might be onboarded differently. A TA can go to faculty. So, you really need to be careful about all of these different personas that exist at the same time, and that's very unique to education. Second challenge that we find is frequent and high volume identity changes. So there's these huge peaks and valleys in the way that higher ed institutions need to onboard and offboard users. So these requests come in large batches, usually tied to the student calendar. So you've got enrollment dates, you've got, dropout dates, you've got dates when alumni, get onboarded into the system, and these come in huge volumes at very specific times. Another kind of unique aspect of higher ed. Higher ed also has a challenge of decentralized IT, meaning hopefully there's a central IT within the institution, but there's probably also satellite IT organizations at faculty or other independent schools within the organization, especially at larger universities. He's got this delineation of duties between the central IT and some of the different subsystems. And, you need to establish where the standards are coming from and how you can maintain control over all of these different sort of dissimilar IT environments, and it gets quite complicated. The fourth challenge that we quite often see is the diverse environment that higher ed seems to spawn in terms of public cloud and legacy IT. So you've got kind of both extremes where these organizations are racing towards public cloud because they're doing some cutting edge things, especially as the faculties in terms of research. They're trying to take advantage of the cloud to, keep their operating costs down potentially. And they've also got tons of legacy IT because they've been around a long time with some very large systems, and they've got this dual requirement to move as quickly as possible to public cloud safely and maintain all of the legacy IP that's not going anywhere. And their last thing is a challenge that, is most top of mind, especially in Canada, is budgetary constraints. All KeyData customers have budgetary constraints, to be sure. Nobody wants to spend more money than they have to. But in higher ed, it's quite acute. There's a lot of competition for IT dollars and just dollars in general within the university. There's a budget crunch in Canada currently for different reasons. That's no secret. And, organizations are sometimes struggling to get the most that they can. So any IGA program has to move forward under sort of those 5 challenges. That's not to say that it's, losing hope. Anyone should lose hope. These are challenges, but of course, there's ways to overcome these challenges. A lot of organizations are doing this really well. And, but if we plan with these challenges in mind, we have a greater chance of success.
What are the first steps that leaders in higher education can take to achieve their identity security goals?
Yeah, I mean, the answer is fairly straightforward. You need to have a dedicated IGA program roadmap. To mature your IGA program, you need a plan. And you may already have a roadmap or you might already have an IGA plan, but quite often we find that it's either out of date or it's not complete. So, the first step you should take is reviewing your roadmap and making sure that it's up to date and current and comprehensive. The plan should cover governance, processes, and technology, all three of those things, and have achievable milestones and some quick wins, just like any other project. At KeyData, we've done a lot of these kinds of assessments and roadmaps, and every organization is unique, absolutely, but there are logical sequences for when you should introduce different IGA features to reach kind of a standardized level of maturity. So there are some patterns in place, that you should be following in your roadmap. Obviously, for your own benefit, your roadmap should be kind of tailored to the cost, the budget of your program, the types of resources that you have and their availability, and any other dependencies that you might have from other departments or other projects that are also currently underway. So it does require some thought, and it does require, some dedicated effort to keep it up to date. Once you've got your plan in place, then you can talk about executing some of the key IGA kind of capabilities. But so often we find that organizations jump the gun and their plan is not complete. So, in short, that's what I would advise a CIO or CISO to action when they get up tomorrow morning. Find out what the status of your IGA program roadmap is and make sure that it's up to date and complete.